Welcome everyone to another episode of the Transatlantic Takedown, and we're back after a long time, Megan.
Yes, it's been
Too long.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, before WrestleMania. So
Yeah, it's
it's
been
been a
a
minute.
bit of time, all right, but we took some time to renew our energy and our focus to put everything to a lot of stuff going forward, a lot of exciting stuff we're going to have coming up.
Yeah. Just I think the breaks was definitely needed between working outside of this and then just trying to figure out what fit for us when it comes down to our scheduling and just what topics and promotions we want to cover and support. We just needed that time apart. And once we took that time, we was able to figure out what was the best strategy. So of course, just thinking of how we want to cover more of the indie scene.
Exactly.
Covering a lot of the, I don't want to use the term smaller wrestlers, but those that might not necessarily be well known. And just putting the spotlight on them and pushing their name and those promotions out there. So
there's a lot of wonderful indie promotions both sides of the Atlantic, over where you are and here in Ireland. We've got many talented individuals that probably dream about going to the likes of WWE, TNA, AEW, and so on, and they deserve a bit more of a spotlight also. And a lot of those companies have stars of that you could end up worshiping, like some of us do for WWE and AEW, and you'll be getting to see them at their initial stages when they're learning the ropes and everything like that. And I think that's very important. So that's something close to our hearts that we would like to cover a bit more of going forward. So
so we'll definitely still be covering WWE and AEW and TNA and their big events, but it just will not be the ship that will be sailing off this channel on a it won't be our cornerstone for the Transatlantic Takedown. But of course, while we were away, we did have WrestleMania, which was some people would say it wasn't the best WrestleMania.
Some people would say.
I think it had some moments. Was it better than WrestleMania 39? I can't say it was, but I think WrestleMania weekend was more exciting for what happened outside of the ring than what happened in the ring. The roles and of course everything else that had happened, the interviews and stuff. But of course, one half of Transatlantic Takedown was there. He was
that is correct.
In front of all. He witnessed all of the craziness, all of the excitement. Of course, I gotta ask you, what is Vegas like? Because I've never been to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
But
everything.
What?
Everything you can imagine, just up it a bit more, like in your mind. I mean, Vegas is just crazy. It's in your face. It's mesmerizing. From the moment you hit the strip, the lights, the excitement. You know, with it being WrestleMania week, there was so many people from around the globe there, and you could just feel the electricity. I know it's cliched and that, but it's true. And yeah, I can understand why some people were saying maybe WrestleMania, it didn't seem to be that exciting night one and night two, and that may not have come across that easily on transmission, you know, across on Netflix. But in the stadium, especially night two, I found the crowd to be electric, you know, especially at various different parts of the night. The entrances were unbelievable to witness up close. I thought they did a fantastic job on the entrances this year. The Titantrons, screens, everything like that. Night one, yes, was probably a little bit flat up until the triple threat match, and you know the ending that we have where we had to that, which we won't forget in a hurry. Um, but overall, the weekend was amazing, you know, because we had SmackDown, Raw, WWE World. There was WrestleCon. There was so much to fit in, and I did end up spreading myself a little bit thin. But that's the way these things go. But
Yeah,
yes,
but you got a
fantastic.
chance to meet a few people while you was out there.
Yeah, well, I took the opportunity. I was lucky enough. I got to meet. Well, got a photo opportunity with John Cena, and that was the morning after he had won his record 17th title, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin also, because especially when you're coming over from Ireland, those guys, like, they're not really going to be in Ireland. And when are you ever going to get that chance again?
That's right.
Possibly never. And then some other people like Mick Foley, Bret the Hitman Hart, who is my favorite wrestler of all time, Bret Hart, and I think he's the best ever. So people like that, the Big Show, Sting, Tony Storm, I mean, Britt Baker, there's so many, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, list goes on. I went a bit crazy with the meet and greets, but I'm delighted. I it's something special for a small town fella like me from Ireland, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, when you go to a city like Vegas, where it's just lights, it's fast paced, it's casinos, it's money, it's alcohol.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's kind of hard to not, maybe splurge a little. So if you're not splurging on one thing, you're definitely indulging in other things. And your choice was meeting wrestlers,
Yeah.
that's what that weekend was all about. I mean, so many other promotions took advantage of that weekend, and they had a whole lot of different shows out there that weekend as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, WWE is the top of that mountain, and you just know you follow suit. You follow suit when it comes down to them. But when it came down to night two, even though I was home watching it, just seeing this very special moment between Liver, Valkyr, and a returning Becky Lynch coming back. I knew that was a very big moment for you.
Huge moment. Yeah.
You gotta. Where was your mind at
Well,
when you heard her music?
It was very, very special for so many reasons. we'd gotten the news kind of. I think it was that Bailey had been taken out off screen beforehand, and then the anticipation was there who was going to be pairing up with Lyra, and a lot of the rumors going around were maybe it'll be Becky Lynch, but as we all know, you can never get too much close attention to rumors until you actually see what happens, especially with WWE. And then Becky had said previously in an interview she was finished with wrestling for the moment, and things like that. So it was fantastic to pop when her music hit and she came down. And I mean, they had wrestled before in NXT, but Lyra being that little bit younger than Becky, she had grown up with Becky as her hero, and so on. And yeah, I just think it was a fabulous moment for the two of them. And then we know they went on and won the match, won the belts, and then of course what happened after that, which is where we're at now between the two of them. But I do think for a whole host of reasons it's great for Lyra, because she is where she is, and it's on pure merit. The WWE obviously think a lot of her, and but I don't think the fans have seen the real Lyra just yet. And I think this feud with Becky is going to show them exactly what Lyra is capable of.
Yeah. Well, and that's another question I wanted to ask you. Like, it's been about 2 weeks since the attack has happened. So, what are your thoughts on heel Becky? Because, I've seen Becky be a real mean girl, and I don't necessarily feel like she's tapping into it as she has before. I don't know if this is supposed to be
She's holding back. Is that what you feel?
Yeah. I don't know if this is supposed to be her kind of giving Lyra a push, because to be honest, they haven't really, which we're going to get into that later on, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like between the male wrestlers and the female wrestlers, they definitely book them. In comparison, it's terrible how they book the women wrestlers. I feel like if you don't have a very strong personality, you can fall through the cracks. When I think of Lyra as the first intercontinental women's intercontinental champion, compared to Chelsea as the first women's United States champion, I feel the comparison between them two and their title reigns is drastic, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Chelsea has a bigger personality than Lyra.
Yeah, but one thing I will say is, and without bringing age into it or anything like that, I do think Lyra is just that little bit younger than Chelsea. Additionally, I do believe she still has a lot of experience to gain yet. Like she's still relatively young in her career. I know she's wrestled quite a lot here in Ireland, and I've seen a lot of her early stuff when she was tag teaming with Debbie Keitel, for instance, here as the Walk Queens and everything. But like there's no denying her talent in the ring, and I think that's what WWE see and they know. And I just feel that her true personality hasn't developed just yet, like on screen for the fans to see. And I do think there's a lot more to come, and we're starting to see that now in the face-offs between herself and Becky over the last couple of weeks. I do think she's starting to shine through a bit, and it's only going to get better from there.
I hope so, because there's younger women on NXT who I feel would have probably benefited more as the Intercontinental Champion over Lyra. And that's not speaking on her ability as a wrestler.
Mhm.
It just speaks on the women who did get let go, who I feel,
This is what you're doing.
and no, we don't really want to focus on age, although Tiffany is younger than Lyra. And Roxanne is too.
Mhm.
But there's just, I'm hoping that this feud with Becky does kind of bring that out, because she has kind of been in the shadows on Raw. So when they gave her the title, I thought that it would bring her to the forefront.
Mhm.
And she had the title, but it didn't really put her where I feel a champion needed to be. And they linked her with Bayley, but Bayley really couldn't carry the weight as well. So when they brought back Becky, and now they have a feud between them two going on, I'm hoping that it will have the same effect as Charlotte and Tiffany did.
Are you kind of hinting, or are you questioning whether maybe this is the last throw of the dice from WWE to pair her with Becky and see how it takes off, or before like kind of changing their mind about their plans for her?
I think that they gave her the title, and then they just kind of sat her on the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just focused on other people, mainly Rhea.
But do you not feel that they did the same? Like Chelsea Green has a stronger personality, but they did the same with her and the US Championship. Like, I mean, they didn't really do much with her and that either.
She had a lengthy feud with Michin. She had she had a small feud with Fab. Well, but see, the thing about it is, even without a belt, Chelsea was still the talk of. She was still that girl, and I just feel like there is
top of the morning,
women
top of the
on. I just feel like there's just women on NXT right now, not those who got let go, but women right now, which I can name a few. I would say,
right.
Jada
Here's my take, but you're kind of focusing on Lyra, okay? Now, there's people that have been let go from NXT, and rightly so. It's been wrong. You know, we've seen Katana. There's my head has gone blank from the names. You could list them off
Katana
there.
And Kaden.
Yeah, Kaden.
But I would be the first one to say that they were born. They were born, and you know, and if I say a woman is boring, then it's like, oh, she's not a girl's girl. It's like, no, it's just I watch their matches.
Yeah.
But I don't really get anything out of it.
Cora Jade, do you think there was much done with her?
I posted up tweets when Cora Jade was on TNA saying that Cora Jade was going to take over the women's division once she got to the main roster. So of course,
they didn't really do much with her. You know, it comes down to the booking also.
The crazy part is
Nikita Lyons is still there.
You got rid of Cora after you sent her to TNA to have a match with the top woman on TNA. She had an actual TNA Women's Knockout Championship match, and then you still got rid of her. That was backwards. That was ass backwards.
But they've sent Nikita from
I can't tell you. I can't tell you why she's
developmental,
still
you
there.
sent her
I
back into another developmental.
I can't tell you why she's still there, Derek. I don't understand it either.
I know why she's still there.
I mean, but what they think they're getting out of Nikita, you get out of Jada Parker, and it comes off more natural.
I don't know what to do.
Because that's her. That's her personality. She's not pretending to be someone that she's not. Who you see in Jada Parker is who she is when the camera is on.
Yeah.
So it's like to get rid of someone like a Gigi Dolan, to get rid of someone like a Shotzi, to get rid of Jakara Jackson. I think that's the one that hurt me the most.
Yeah.
You know, it was ass backwards.
And now I'm hearing Ronda Rousey could be coming back, and Shayna
like, for
Baszler was cut loose.
For what? You bringing her back after you got rid of Shayna, and we all know Shayna is a far better wrestler. Well, I'm not even talking about UFC. I'm just talking about wrestling.
I don't think age can come into it like some people have been reporting. I think that's dirt sheet rubbish, because as you've just pointed out, a lot of those, especially the ladies that were let go, are only in their 20s. Now I know Braun Strowman, he has a pair of bad knees, and he was on quite a large salary also. But I don't think age is the issue here. I do know every year after WrestleMania season, they take stock of who they have, what they're going to do going forward, what their plans are, and there is always a cull of some sort. However, we could get into another factor here, the AAA, the Lucha Libre, the acquisition there, and as part of that,
right,
Alberto Del Rio could be coming back because they'll inherit his contract, which is crazy if you think about it, with his name in the business. If they're trying to clean up their act and, you know, be the, like, with all he's done, but that, look, we could be here all night discussing that, but there is so much right and wrong. Like there's a lot of different things that just don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, you know. Although they did say, you know, the same sources, they did say that at some point, you know, Braun could come back more on a shorter term. You know, you had been an amazing feud with, not only did he eat with that feud that he had with Bronson Reed, which I'm hoping Bronson Reed comes back very soon, but also I thought the feud between him and Carmelo Hayes was entertaining. It was short-lived, but it was entertaining. And then, of course, him with Jacob Fatu. But if it's for the fact that he is just not as healthy as they need him to be, that's understandable. But then when you have, you know, Dave Meltzer, of all people, trying to report that someone like a Dakota Kai is released because age, when me and Becky, 37. Me and Becky's the same age. We're both 38, and Charlotte is 39, you know? So, and then like somebody brought up, if you look at our two heavyweight champions, our two current heavyweight champions, one is knocking on 50. John Cena is right up there. He's right up there.
Yeah, didn't he? And 47 he turned recently.
Yes. And Jey Uso is 39. So I so respected what Becky said when it came down to that, because there is clear double standards when it comes down to who they feel can and cannot be the face of the women's division because of their age, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think Nia Jax is 41, okay?
Yeah.
Like she's still up there in the title picture. Jade Cargill is early 30s. You know, if you, Naomi spoke recently about like she's 37, somewhere along that.
Yeah, she'll be
And
38.
she's even talking she might be running out of time at this stage because she wants to talk, maybe start a family, different things like that. I do think you are correct about the double standards between men and women competing. However, I feel that has been there for quite some time. It's been there for many years, well before Triple H's time, and it's been all across the board. And it's in every walk of life. It's in every profession.
Because Mae Young, she held the belt for like what 25 years, and she was like older than most of the women in
Yeah,
that
but
division at the time.
you go back to Mae Young's time. It was there was different things going on back then. There wasn't even the amount of talent that you have now.
Yeah,
it's far
I'm
less.
gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's a WWE thing. I think it's a TKO thing. I think it's a TKO thing, and TKO being this big umbrella that pretty much is the parent of WWE. I think they make the final calls. But you're not going to get rid of a Charlotte. You're not going to get rid of a Becky, despite their age, because they bring money. Their money. Their names brings in money.
But isn't that business though? If you think of it too, do you know? Like, this is the thing. John Cena is money. He's 47. CM Punk is 45. He's money.
Yeah.
It is a business at the end of the day.
Dakota didn't do anything that says that she should have been released. The only thing that you can say about Dakota is that she didn't have any good storylines, and that's not of her fault. She doesn't write her own stories. Y'all didn't see a value in her. That's what happened.
Surprisingly, I saw, I think it was Io Sky's birthday today or yesterday. She's
Yesterday.
35. God bless her. She doesn't look 21, to be honest. So yeah.
But
there you go. But just going back to Becky Lynch, she was quite outspoken this week on a couple of interviews, but she always has been, in fairness to her, and she was even talking about the likes of Hulk Hogan. Nobody has much time for Hulk anymore.
Makes me like her even more.
Yeah, her husband Seth doesn't have a lot of good things to say. But Hulk Hogan, in fairness, doesn't do himself any favors either, as we saw between himself and Benjamin Shelton.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I
fully believe Hulk Hogan actually, like, he lies so much now. He doesn't even know.
If there was one person in the last 2 weeks that had anything kind to say about Hulk Hogan, it was Tom Brady. And I'm so upset. Like, I now have to find another football GOAT, because he declared him the greatest wrestler of all time. And it's just like, why?
Well,
why?
In
what
fairness,
is it about Hulk Hogan?
If you ask most people of a certain vintage or a certain generation to list their Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, a lot of people are going to have Hulk Hogan there. And the reason being, it's not for Hulk Hogan, the person he is now. It's for what Hulk Hogan did for wrestling. He brought it kicking and screaming into a new generation. Himself and Vince were instrumental in that. As much as we don't care for who they are as people, they did a lot for wrestling business.
I have to question that only because I feel like Hulk Hogan was. I don't know if Hogan was as good of a wrestler as they portrayed him to be. I think he was.
It wasn't about Hulk Hogan's technical ability, right, or anything like that, or his wrestling ability. It was about the whole character. It was like you just take a look back at the promos that he used to cut. I mean, they were fantastic. And maybe he was coked off his head. Who knows? It's one hell of a drug, I hear. But it was like amazing. He was like a superhero, real life superhero. There's no doubting that. Now, watching his matches, if you go back and watch his matches now, yeah, it's not going to excite you the same way as watching Cody Rhodes versus whoever these days. It's just not the same. But
But
he was like just cartoon character type. He was huge.
And that is what brings me to my question. Does that make him the greatest wrestler of all time? Or does that make him the greatest showman
But
of all time?
It's what he did. It's everything. Like I say, the character itself, the promos, how he was the biggest star. Like a lot of people, if you asked them who didn't know anything about wrestling, they'd still know who Hulk Hogan was, even back then.
I mean, but they also know a Rocky Johnson. They know an Andre the Giant. They know, Macho Man Randy Savage. They know Dustin Rhodes. They know Bruno Sammartino.
Look,
I'm
not a fan of
Hulk Hogan was a name.
I'm not a fan of what Hulk Hogan is today, but I can hold my hands up and say he had a lot to do with the new era of rock and roll wrestling as it was back in those days in the early to mid 80s. Like he did a lot.
That he went on to Hollywood and appeared in Rocky and appeared on TV shows and commercials and stuff like that. Also helped to define.
He made a lot of money for Vince.
But I think his influence outside of WWF at the time also influences people's opinions on whether he was or is the greatest, because you saw him outside.
Well, more and more comes out all the time about Hulk Hogan and how, that's not going to work for me, brother. Everything like that like Bret Hart, Bret was supposed to take the belt, remember it was Yokozuna's WrestleMania 9, and then Hogan was supposed to step away or something like that, but then he changed his mind and he could just do what he wanted. He came back, took over again, and then I think Bret and himself were supposed to have a feud running up to SummerSlam, which didn't happen then either. So Bret was kind of screwed out with things by him, and Bret Hart was a far better wrestler than Hulk Hogan, but charisma, all this kind of stuff, probably not on a par. He wasn't a huge fella like Hogan was, who Vince just loved. It is what it is, but
I'm glad you asked.
It's not going to work for me, brother. It's and
I went on a little tangent about Tom Brady. Now I still love Tom Brady. Okay, when they listen, my love for Tom Brady goes back to his Patriot days. Okay, when he was talking about that football and everybody was calling them cheaters. So this my love for Tom goes deep, but that was a little much for me. Anyway, Sheldon Benjamin and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't necessarily know where that stemmed from, but Sheldon and MVP was not happy.
Well, first of all, it stems from Hogan's racist background and the pronouncing Shelton Benjamin's name incorrectly, and just the lies that he spews all the time. Especially he got Brock Lesnar when he first got out of UFC, which was bullshit too.
Yes, I think if everybody could just take notes of all is he lying or is he just remembering things incorrectly? Because then he also say his son was supposed to have a WWE contract as well, and it's like,
Yeah.
We know
And
your
he was
son.
going to play
Your son's
bass for
like,
Metallica, and
yeah, it's like your son wasn't
he was
nowhere
originally
near
going to
us.
be the George Foreman. Felt like I don't think Hogan even realizes anymore he's lying. Like I honestly I think he's just such a liar now. It doesn't even feature anymore. Like whether he thinks it's the truth he's talking.
Right. You know, but
But he's
Hulk
back
Hogan,
with Eric
yes,
Bischoff.
and Eric Bischoff announced, of course, with Izzy Martinez of Izzy Style Wrestling, that they are embarking on a new business
God
in
help us all.
Denver
Yeah.
called Real American Fight Style Wrestling. As people may have seen, they did a very NWO-esque video, pretty much
Yeah.
hinting that they was doing something, and they revealed that there was this third guy. Me, like everyone else, thought, oh my God, it's going to be Vince.
Huge
It's
anticlimax.
It was. No offense to Mr. Israel Martinez. I did look you up. Very important man in wrestling. But yeah, we had a whole lot of who.
Yeah.
Who?
Everyone was expecting Vince.
I think with the current climate of the world, it wouldn't have been the biggest surprise, honestly, if it was Vince. It's way too many crazy things happening in the world. That just would have been another thing on the list, honestly.
But I don't think it garnered the interest that they thought it was going to. It was cool with the whole NWO kind of look to it, but I don't think it got the level of interest they thought it would. And like I say, I think it was a bit of a letdown in the end. So it remains to be seen how what way that's going to go.
Yeah, I think we thought it was probably going to be a podcast, since everybody is doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
Where they was probably going to talk about backstage things from the history of wrestling. I think that would have probably got a bigger reaction than this wrestling brand. Now, of course, with Hulk Hogan having his nails in WWE when it comes down to Real American Beer, I can only suspect that this in Denver is probably going to end up having some ties to the WWE ID or some sort of affiliation to WWE in some way.
The only thing I will say is the level of toxicity that Hogan kind of brings with him. We've seen too many interviews now of some of the current stars in WWE that just don't think a lot of Hogan. We saw how Hogan was treated when he came out on one of the shows on Netflix. He was booed out of the place. So I think the WWE have perhaps learned their lesson. He wasn't around over WrestleMania weekend for meet and greets or anything like that. I think they've kind of learned their lesson that we need to just keep him away now at this stage, which is why Hogan has embarked on all this. Now, having said that, at WWE World, his beer was there for sale. You could get that, which there wasn't too many people buying it, to be honest. But yeah,
I mean, I prefer Stone Cold's beer. Broken Skull is really good beer. It's hard to find where I live at, but it will knock you on your ass, especially if you're not a drinker.
You don't want to be driving an ATV after it, though.
No, you don't. But
especially down the ringside.
It seems as though there is a list of AEW stars who has been kind of speaking out about different topics, or kind of getting into different arguments. You have Will Ospreay, who, pretty much downplayed the entire WrestleMania event, said that he was only here for the triple threat match between Rhea and Bianca and Io, really giving big props to Rhea and Bianca. But we have our favorite bald troll on Twitter getting into it with the OG of NXT, Ricochet.
Oh yes,
Javon.
yeah, got the whole media training for the guys. So I hear.
At some point, I think we need to come to realize that these Gen Zers are not built like us. They are vicious. Vicious. And unfortunately for Ricochet, or rather, unfortunately for Tony Khan, he caught a stray.
Yeah.
He caught a bullet, and he wasn't even involved in an argument. He just, doing whatever recreational activities he was doing at the time, and he was called a crackhead by Javon. And the funny part about it is, or not funny, depending on who you ask, nobody refuted that. No one argued it down. No one said, "Oh, that's not nice. You shouldn't say that." No one argued the fact that Javon called AEW's owner, founder, president, the big guy, the big wing, Tony Khan, a crackhead. That is amazing. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that people know something that we don't? Or does it mean that people just believe what has always been said about Tony? I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? Is Tony a fan or is he a leader? Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't be around Tony Khan to know if that's what he does. Yes, you are talking about, I want to say his name is Xavier Carver. He is on Evolved. Evolved. I don't know.
I think it's just generating publicity online anyway. It's some of that kind of stuff.
But The Rock is on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Roman, Jay, Jimmy, Jacob, Nia, Tamatanga, Tangaloa, Ava.
More to come.
You have way too many of them to he got it. Keanu Carver. You have way too many of them to be speaking that.
And you will have Hikuleo and maybe Zillifa too at some stage too.
Yes. Yep. And Lance. I keep forgetting Lance is signed to NXT, even though they have not debuted him yet. And Lance and Hawaii. So shut up.
Plenty of bloodline moving forward.
I don't know. I really don't know how that's going to benefit his career. That's not who you want to offend in that business. That's not who you want to upset, especially when you're trying to make a career for yourself.
I still think too many things are blown out of proportion, though. There's a throwaway tweet put up by somebody, and then it becomes a huge storyline, or someone tries to turn it into some storyline that it actually isn't. Some of these dirt sheet type companies and so on, and it's really stories about nothing. And it just generates chat and talk, and this is really what goes on. But anyway,
Yes, we have Backlash.
we have a major event. Yes,
Oh,
Backlash in the home of Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, St. Louis, Missouri. First we gotta touch on the fatal four-way match. Fatal four-way match
Yes, indeed.
between Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, LA Knight, and the current reigning, defending
Right.
United States champion, Jacob Fatu. Now,
Mhm.
I'm happy that Jacob Fatu is the champion. Honestly, he deserved it. I think he has. I'm not even going to say he has improved, because when I look at his matches when he was in MLW, he was a beast. Like
Yeah.
I don't see why he didn't come to WWE sooner. But now that we have him, um, is really only the sky is the limit for him. Um, of course,
Yeah.
well, before we give our predictions, what is your thoughts about this match? Because I have to admit, it
I'm
does.
gonna I got to say about Drew McIntyre first, okay? I think a lot
Yeah,
of people were a bit disappointed this year in the way things happened for Drew. They feel with the year he had last year, that he earned his spot to be in the main title picture. But for some reason, of course, plans change, and I do think there's plenty of time left for him to get back to that level, because he was on fire last year. Now, I can't see Jacob Fatu dropping the belt here.
no,
It's too soon, and he hasn't. He needs to get a good run with it, because like he's a phenomenon. He's a beast. Everything he does, like even the crowd's reaction to him, even when he was heel, like he was loved coming out,
yeah,
and even backstage, some of the stuff that he does is amazing. LA Knight, I'm starting to wonder what's going to happen with him. Like he is 42, 43. He's been there. He had this bit of a run with Nakamura. They Nakamura won the belt from him at one of the Saturday night main events, and then to drop it back to him again. Um, I don't know if they've run out of ideas with him. It's difficult to say. I think Damian Priest is on a bit of a downward spiral since Judgment Day. I don't think things have been the same for him.
yeah.
But that's
Uh,
that's my
poor
take on it.
booking, poor writing. I grew up in the Attitude Era, of course. I've been spoiled by the stories that we had during that time. Um, why? Because you had a lot of Hollywood writers
Hmm.
in the rooms. And of course, when you look at the pictures of these writers now, they look like they came straight out of college. They have no experience. Um, and yeah, it's more so of a, shooting, throwing a dart at the board. Sometimes, you hit it, sometimes you miss.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for these sirens.
good
This was
old New
right
York City.
past. Oh my God. um, but like you said, I I don't see um Jacob dropping the title anytime soon.
No,
Um, for LA, they kind of have him like chasing after this belt. Uh, and I hate that for him, simply because they cannot find anything for him. So they just have him chasing after this
yeah,
title. I hope at some point they'll, get him face to face with John Cena, kind of pick up on that story between him and John, from what was that, about a year or two ago. Only
I
time
don't
can
think
tell.
I don't think there's going to be enough time. With Cena's
It's
farewell
not. It's
and
not. And
everything.
that's why, it's like you said, what can you do? What can you do? See, you made it happen.
Well,
What can you do with these three guys? Drew Drew is always going to be okay. Drew is always going to uh find a story, to be involved in. But yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, where does that leave Damian Priest and LA Knight? I don't know, but of course we already know Jacob is
yeah,
retaining. So that
exactly.
is the it of that. Now, the match that I'm probably most excited about
Hmm.
is this match.
Yeah.
I'm
And
most excited about this match
you think
because
Dominic Mysterio, anyone that can remember back to Baywatch, Hobie Buchanan in Baywatch many years ago, looks a bit like him in this.
yeah, I mean, look, I fell in love with Penta watching him in AEW. So to hear that he was coming to WWE, I just knew like that was probably something that WWE was missing. And now that let me tell you, I could not stand Dominique. The whole dirty Dom character got on my nerve, not in a bad way, but in a way of,
It was
he
unbelievable when
he
he
just
won that at WrestleMania. Like
I was happy for him.
the
Yeah,
crowd was going insane for him
yeah,
throughout the match, and when he won it, and then the manner in which he won it, and he went
yes,
backstage, and apparently Triple H told him, "You need to go back out there to the ring," because the crowd are going crazy for it,
yeah.
and rightly so, and the same on Raw the following night. Um, the place erupted when he came out. Like he's loved. He's turned things around.
He
There's no
really
denying
has.
that.
We have watched this young man go from being a tag team to his father, turning on his father, pretty much getting strong armed by Rhea,
Hmm.
becoming her boyfriend, um, being a part of Judgment Day, the fans loving to hate him, to who he is now. Like he has built that all by himself. So when he
Yeah,
did win that title by pinning Finn, it was poetic justice. I think because we knew that that was the beginning of the end of Judgment Day for real.
yeah.
Um, do I see him losing the title to Penta? I don't.
No,
I do feel like someone will ultimately help uh him win if
unless somebody tries to help, but ultimately costs him. Now, maybe some disqualification where he doesn't actually lose the title, and then it
I
spirals
was
from there.
I was thinking that. But I feel like if by chance someone like Finn interferes in the match, I think that honestly, I think Finn would deliberately try to cause him to lose the title, but it backfires.
Yeah, possibly.
That's how I see it happening. I feel like he will come out and he would try to cause Dominique the title, and it will backfire because he is so damn passive aggressive towards Dominique. We all can see it. We all can see it. He is so bitter
Yeah.
that Dominique won that title by pinning him.
And
So
Liv is not going to be there because she's away. Is it for a month or two
yeah,
filming some movie?
the filming is supposed to be done before the month is out. So she
Okay.
should be back, if not the week after next, she should be
Yeah.
back.
Like she's on fire as well. Everything her and Dom do at the minute, it generates so much interest. It's
Yeah.
insane.
So, so of course, I think we both can agree that Dominic is going to retain.
Definitely, yeah. No, this should be a cracker of a match. But like Penta is an amazing
He
competitor and
is. He
athlete.
is. So, I mean, I know he's going to give Dominic a whooping for sure. He's going to
Yeah.
give him a whooping. But that's the match I'm most excited to see. Um, Now, I'm
This is
not
my number
happy
one
that
match.
this is the only women's match, but I understand why it's the only women's match because none of the other women have storylines worth being
Love
on.
it. Cracker of a match. Exactly.
No, there's no other storyline.
I have to stop you there because I think there may be another match. Now there's Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill for number one contender is on SmackDown tonight to face Tiffany. Now that could be announced and that would make 6 matches for tomorrow's card, which may be a little too much for Triple H. It might drive him mental to have more than 5. But we'll have to wait and see.
Naturally, his matches he will want it to be built.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, that's why if there's a women's title match, it will probably be for Saturday night's main event. I don't think it's going to be for tomorrow. Or there apparently is a women's title match next week. So
Okay.
maybe
All
that's
right.
where it will be. But when I saw the 5 matches, you know, that's usually Triple H's cap. You don't necessarily go over 5.
It's to
Now,
give them all the time that they deserve and not have to rush them. But this match is fantastic for Ireland. It's fantastic for Lyra, I think, and just for women's wrestling in general. We talked there previously about the kind of background to the two ladies. Lyra would have grown up, you know. Becky would have been a hero of hers, and yeah, it's a big deal for both of them, and I think more so for Lyra because she's been struggling in a way just for her own personality. Getting like she doesn't have the strong personality maybe that Chelsea Green has or whatever. Look, people are naturally different in that regard, but I do think there's a lot more to come. I think there's a lot more that she can do. There's more development there, but like her in-ring credentials are fantastic.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep harping on Chelsea. I only brought up Chelsea because they both was the inaugural champions for the mid card. That's the only reason why I brought her up. If I wanted to compare Lyra to any other current or at the time when she was current champion, I could have easily said Roxanne.
Yeah.
I could have said Kalani when she was the North American champion. There was just some that just was just more interesting to me. However, if I'm gonna be honest, Becky's the only reason why I'm even interested in this match, to be truthfully honest. And that's saying a lot because it's saying a lot because I wasn't look, I'm not a big Becky girl. Not. However, when Becky is in her bag as a heel, I love watching her. I feel like she is one of the best heels.
Do you not feel like Becky has done a lot for the women's wrestling industry, like the women's side of things? Like, and then, you know, if we go back to the 4 horsewomen, you know, and all that all that side of things, and she's always in that category, like that discussion around the greatest ever. And rightly so. Look, that's something we need to come back to again and discuss in great detail. I think that type of stuff. But yeah, I just think Becky is money. Becky draws a lot of attention. and they're a power couple, her and Seth Rollins as well, which makes it even more interesting. Yeah, we thought she was stepping away. Actually, what I thought, and I discussed it with some of the lads that were at the WrestleMania, is we thought that was maybe a one-off, her coming back for that night, but then they went and won the titles. So then we thought, oh, maybe they'll drop them the next night, and she only came back for that bit of a boost or whatever. And they did drop them, but then we saw the heel turn. So, oh, Becky's sticking around. She's hanging around for a while. But that's where I think maybe Bayley is going to come back into the picture. And then, of course, people have been suggesting maybe Becky is going to be a Paul Heyman girl,
Yeah, they said that. And I can see her kind of being in that mix. I would kind of hope that Becky wouldn't be necessarily by herself. Like, if some chance Bayley does come and interfere, I would hope like somebody would come, and whether it's a return or whether it's like you said, a one-off thing to kind of
could we see Bayley coming like down and turning on Lyra?
Like that would be confusing. It would be confusing because it's like, then why did Becky have to attack Bayley? I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, the most reasonable thing is Bayley interfering, causing Becky the match, and Lyra retaining. What would definitely get a pop is if by chance, Bayley would come out and turn on Lyra. Would it make sense at the time? I don't know. I don't know if it would make sense, but it would definitely shock a lot of people if that was to happen. And since WWE liked the shock value, that's an angle that I would go with. But I would hope that you have a decent story to follow up with that.
Well, people naturally, because it's Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman, they naturally think, oh, maybe Becky will become, but maybe Bayley. Like
Bayley with Braun and Seth.
I think it'd be interesting. I do.
Yeah.
I think Bayley's more interesting as well when she's heel. I think she's gone a bit stale also, and that's why she's nearly like the LA Knight. They've been moving her around a bit.
Oh yeah, because let me tell you that Mr. Jonathan Coachman had said some things about Bayley, and it did not go over well with quite a few people, myself included. But like you said, that is a topic for another time.
Definitely.
So who are we saying? You're saying
I'm going to go. I'm going to say Becky's going to win this. Yeah.
I want to say Becky too. I'm going to say Becky. All right. Now, this match here. Pat McAfee and Gunther. Why? I need to know why this match is even happening. And I'm only saying why because I know what this is going to pivot to.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it.
Because I don't
like
what's happening.
As much as I don't like Hulk Hogan. I don't like him. I would say it's equal. I'm not going to say I dislike one over the other. It's equal. But yes, I think this is going to somehow pivot the return of Goldberg, and I hate it.
Do you think this is going to be a squash match? Like that this is going to be just Gunther absolutely battering?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Pat is going to get his ass whooped. And then somehow Goldberg
if it's anything but that, it will really devalue Gunther as, what they were building him up to be. I mean, if McAfee is able to hold his own and knock Gunther around the place, it's really going to make. I think it's going to make him look really poor. And there's no way Gunther's going to lose two in a row. Like he lost at WrestleMania, which was pretty poor the way he tapped out. He's not going to lose a second one like this.
I mean, this goes right back to my issue, which is booking. Because, like you said, when Gunther held the Intercontinental Championship for over 600 days,
It was
almost
amazing.
700 days,
Yeah.
that title reign was perfect. It was.
But he made the IC belt like really strong once again.
He did. He did. I 100% agree with that. I really do. They dropped the ball when he became champion. I feel like they just kind of winged it with him. As much as I love Jey Uso, him winning the title off of Gunther did not feel.
Well, it was the
believable.
manner in which he won it. Gunther tapping out just didn't feel right. And then so quickly also.
Yeah.
There was he didn't break out of it and get away from, and get to the ropes or anything. Like, it was just so quick. It was just rushed at the end or something. It was I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what happened. So with
like a week or two before WrestleMania, we saw Gunther become a monster again, taking out Big Jim. And
that was nasty. That was nasty.
But they waited so long to let us see that, and then he tapped out. So this needs to be an ass whooping here tomorrow night, like to really like destroy McAfee in some way, and maybe somebody comes out to save Pat McAfee tomorrow night.
Yeah, how unfortunate. If that's the case, I'm rooting for Gunther. I am. Only because, I'm a hater in that sense. I do not, I already, see, it goes back to booking, because you book Gunther to lose the title to Jey with his own finisher.
Yeah.
Wasn't a real struggle. Then you kind of see Jey was testing that again during his match recently with Seth. You could kind of see he was kind of. So I don't know if that's their way of trying to introduce.
Is no good.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's their way of introducing a new possible finisher for Jey, but
his spear is just not strong.
You're going to have Gunther beat up Pat McAfee, and then you're going to have Goldberg come, and he's going to save Pat McAfee, because former football players, they got that in common.
Yeah.
But then when you set up this match that is more than likely going to happen at SummerSlam, you're going to have Gunther lose.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with Gunther? He used to be the baddest man on Raw. Now he's, he doesn't have that image anymore. He doesn't. And it's like, you're setting him up to lose to Goldberg, who is going to get his retirement match, and he's going to run off into the pastures.
And that's not going to be a classic. Any match with Goldberg involved at this stage of his career, like when Goldberg was at his peak, his matches were only a couple of minutes, because he'd be gassed in no time. He was running through. So we know, like, his final match, if it's going to be with Gunther, it's not going to be like a long match of any kind. It's going to be quite short. So that would be, if they're going to have Goldberg winning, it's going to be Gunther getting squashed in some way, which will look even worse.
I hate that for him, because Goldberg gets to go. He had his final match in WWE. He gets to run his bald self to wherever and live in his wrestling glory. And Gunther is still here now, looking even more weak because it started when you had him to hold that title for 700 days to lose to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And then you had him to lose once again by Jey Uso at WrestleMania. And now you're going to have him lose to a man that's retiring. You know, so what are you doing with him? What are you doing with him?
Yeah.
I hate how they're booking him. I really do. It really lowers his
this aura that he had around him, you know, that, like I say, he was a monster, he was unstoppable, unbeatable. They have kind of turned that around in some way that, you know, it's only because that's the way people look at it's only Gunther, you know. And he is like, he's the ring general for a reason. Like, he is a fantastic wrestler.
He really is.
Yeah,
so,
look,
who are we going for?
Somebody's pissing all over the booking.
You know, they lack creativity. That's what it is. They lack creativity in that boardroom. Can't wait to see this show that's supposed to be coming out this summer. It's supposed to give us a peek into the whole writing process.
What is it really? Is it, or is it going to be scripted and make us think that we're seeing inside the?
Yeah, it is more than likely it's going to be scripted. I would hope that they don't, you know, reveal everything. I mean, even
there's not going to be any great secrets of any kind.
I will hope not, because even a magician don't share all their secrets. That's the whole point of being a magician. You know, got to keep the magic alive. And so I don't know if they hear it. Why don't y'all try to hiring Freddie Prinze Jr. again? You know, you might need some of his old magic, because
Vince Russo.
No. Absolutely
no,
not.
bro.
Absolutely not. But he said he's gonna stop watching wrestling anyway, so that should be now.
Him and Dave.
Who did we say is gonna win the last match?
Gunther has to win it. I mean, there can't be anyone. Only him. Yeah.
I'm going to say Pat, because I feel like Goldberg is gonna help him.
I don't know. I don't want to even think about that. But leads us a nice nostalgic little trip down memory lane.
Yes, Randy Orton and John Cena. You know, I feel like,
well, Cody, if we're led to believe correctly, is going to make an appearance here. That's because the internet said so.
Well, see, someone. Well, okay, maybe so. But seeing that's how he said he was going to stop watching wrestling by the time he hit a certain age, wouldn't make no sense for him to be in the rooms. He said he not watching. No, he said he wasn't watching WWE. That's what he said. But back to this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where that would what that would do for Cody being a part of this match, or at least them hinting that he'll be a part of it.
We don't want to see Travis Scott, do we? Even though I have a feeling we probably are going to see him again.
I hope not. I mean, yeah, later on down the line we will. Because they've been telling us about how much he's been training. So yeah, he'll be back in the fold soon enough.
Do you think we're going to get a better match here tomorrow than we got out of Cody and Cena at WrestleMania?
With Randy, absolutely.
Yeah.
Randy,
Or do you think Cena is just going to slow it down the way he did at WrestleMania, do a lot of non-Cena type moves, and which I believe he's doing it because he's ruining wrestling. That's the whole
yeah,
point.
yeah. I mean, look, John Cena is an actor. You know, when he gets past them curtains, he's in character the whole time.
Well, here's one for you.
Um,
Do you think it suits him to do those moves and ruin wrestling because he's
yeah.
just an older Cena? He's not able to go the way he used to.
I mean that's one way of looking at it. I think it's just with him, it just fits in this character of how John feels that for the last 25 years of his life, he wasn't appreciated as
Mhm.
being the ultra positive, highly active, very entertaining John Cena. So now he's giving us the bare minimum. He's
Yeah.
selling us. I don't care what you guys think about me. If I give you this match, you're going to get only 10% of what I've given you in the past. But when it comes down to Randy, Randy is probably in the best shape of his life in like the longest of time. I think Randy's whole it's kind of like this. It's kind of like the comment of my good friend here. Um, they know how to work with each other.
Yeah.
They know how to make each other look good. And I think, yeah, this is probably going to be.
Here's a question for you. Do you think there's a possibility that Cody will come out here, interfere, but he'll
I
cost
will hope.
Randy?
I will hope not.
He'll
I
cost
will hope
Randy
not.
the win, and then it sets off something between Cody and Randy.
I will hope not. I will hope not.
Because the reason I ask is you know I don't think there's going to be long feuds for John Cena throughout this year. Like it's kind of lining up a who's who of different wrestlers he's going to face at different events for the rest of this year, and I think there's a few different names he will end up fighting, and that's why I'm thinking maybe they're going to set off a Cody Randy maybe side storyline, but who knows?
I mean, they could, but at the same time, they're both faces.
Mm.
So, are you really going to turn Randy a heel again? Like we like face Randy, and as much as we've been wanting Cody to turn heel, he's not going to turn heel to benefit John. Because at the end of the day, we already know this is all going to circle back to Cody when John's time is up. It's going to go right back to him. He's probably going to be the one that ultimately takes the title right off of John again.
I just think there's going to be too much like rushed this year. Like we're already into May, and
Yeah.
apparently Cena's finishing up in November, December. There's going to be too many loose ends to tie up, maybe, and things are going to be rushed, or else Cena's actually going to wait and hold on till next Mania. But I can't see that happening. Maybe it will. Who knows?
I think it's going to wrap up. His I know the last pay-per-view is Survivor Series, but I think his last match is in December, which I am trying to figure out.
I think it's close to home for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be like a
Saturday night main event or something.
But do you think a Saturday night's main event is big enough for him to have his last match at?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if they completely
Probably do it out in
at Royal
Saudi somewhere.
Rumble. Yeah, see, he said Sunday night's main event too. If they could convince him to wrap it up in the same pay-per-view that he started his tour, which is Royal Rumble, that would probably make more sense to me.
Yeah, but then you're already into the road to WrestleMania. Then Royal Rumble, it wouldn't make sense.
Well, no, because if he loses the title at Royal Rumble, then whoever wins the Royal Rumble will be going up against whoever took the title off of him.
Mm.
You know, kind of like how, who was it? You had Cody. Cody was fighting Kevin.
Oh
Was
yeah,
he
yeah.
beefing with Kevin at the time? And of course you had Gunther, and I can't remember who he was feuding with at the time, but yeah, I mean, if they took the title off of Cody, if they took the title off of John at Royal Rumble, then of course whoever wins the Royal Rumble can either choose him or choose whoever has the other title. But
impossible to predict or to say one way or
it's
the other.
always fun too. It's always fun too. But when it comes down to this match, I think it's going to be a clean win or lose.
I don't think so. I think Cena's going to do something again, whether it's a low blow, take out Randy with a chair, or Travis Scott is going to get involved. I can't see it being a clean win.
No, I mean clean meaning I don't think it'll be an interference. But if by chance John does win, which he will, we know he will. I guess the question is, how is Randy going to lose? Is the question. How will he lose? I hate that you have to lose in your own hometown, Randy.
Yeah,
I hate that your wife and your kids.
Though is a big enough deal for him, you know, in St. Louis.
Yeah, it is, because I know Randy feels like he has more time in his career. I mean, he said so, which is very interesting that a lot of them has come out and has said that, you know, they feel like they still have more time in their careers. CM Punk has said that recently. Seth Rollins said it recently. Randy has said it himself too. Like, they're putting it out there that they're not, they don't see a clear ending to their careers anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure Randy is going to get his 15 or 14.
Maybe a 15.
His
Yeah.
15th title opportunity, and it has to be through Cody. I'm sorry. To me, he has to get his 15 from Cody.
Yeah, and I'm still holding out hopes, and I do think at some stage, I don't know how soon it'll be, but Cody will turn heel somewhere along the line.
Yes. I'm still hoping for that as well. But all right, let's quickly get into what's happening tonight on SmackDown. But before we do that, we was talking about Saturday night's main event, which is in 2 weeks. It is the day before NXT's Underground pay-per-view, which is going to be really good. Of course, as we went through the matches for Backlash, Jey Uso's and Logan Paul's match is noticeably missing. There's reports that their match will be scheduled for Saturday night's main event. I don't think that's necessarily. I mean, you know, am I mad that Logan is not in another pay-per-view? No. I'm not.
To be honest, they are going to give him a belt at some stage, though. One of the big belts.
Oh my God! I swear to God, that is just going to just raise my blood pressure.
But it's going to happen. They love him. They love driving him down our throats as well.
It's like, for what?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. If I separate him personally from his athleticism, yes, he is a great athlete. He
Yeah.
is a great wrestler. Um, and that's saying a lot. If they do decide to give him a title, I don't know who is going to be that he is going to get that title from. I do hope that Jay has a.
Roman.
I hope Jay has a lengthy title reign. You know,
Yeah.
I hope. Like, it doesn't have to be as long as his cousin, but give him a longer title reign than you did when he held the Intercontinental title, because that was trash. That was absolute trash how they took that title off of him.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I I think the fact that they gave him the title, the way they'll look at it is that's good enough.
And
I can't see him getting a really long run with it.
and that's trash. When he held the title with his brother, he held it forever. A
Yeah,
lot
he's
of it
not.
had to do with Vince. But then when he had the title with Cody, he only held it for like what, a week?
Yeah, he's temporary champion. That's all. He's not going to hold it for long.
And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. But at least give him to the end of the year. Jesus. At least give him to the end of the year.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
But he's definitely retaining at Saturday night's main
I
event.
couldn't see them doing anything. I think Saturday night's main event's just filler. That's all it is, really.
Well, Cody defended his title on there against Kevin and stuff. So yeah. But tonight we have Nia Jax and Jade Cargill as number one contender for Tiffany Stratton's title.
I love Jade Cargill. I don't understand the hate towards her. I think she's fantastic. I really do.
Jealousy.
I don't know. Like I just think like she has this look about her that she's devastating. Like she could be, and I think there's a lot more to come with her. Yeah, I think the fact that she's still maybe a bit green in some way, even though she's like early 30s or whatever. But I really like her.
She's warming up. I think gotta give kudos to Miss Natalia Hart, because she has trained so many of these wrestlers, and she is a beacon of WWE. Honestly, I give her nothing but props.
Well, I have to say though, Naomi, her finest work at the minute she's doing
as a heel. Yes.
Oh, it's absolutely just transformed her.
I mean, I enjoy every minute of it. I love her banter on Twitter. You can tell she is having a ball. She is having such a good time. Just being her devilish self. And I just
she deserves a title run.
Yeah. Sorry. But now, if there's anyone that's going to interfere in the match, that's your interference right there.
Yeah.
Naomi, that's your interference. Now, she doesn't necessarily seem to be the closest with Nia Jax, but we know she absolutely hates Jade. So I think she will definitely cause Jade this match. She'll be around.
Yeah.
We also have Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes.
Okay.
Really glad to have Aleister Black back.
Yeah. I think there's there's some great opportunities there with him now.
Yeah.
Some of the recent returns, like Rusev as well. There's a lot of different things
Yeah.
bubbling up.
Absolutely. And hopefully, if this is true, Alexa Bliss is supposed to be on tonight.
I think that's fantastic too, because for whatever reason she was taken out of the whole picture for WrestleMania weekend.
Yes.
She was scheduled to be there in WWE World, and then she just disappeared from the whole schedule. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
maybe it's family stuff, and I know she has small kids and things like that. So it could be for any reasons, but yeah, there was talk maybe being involved. The Wyatt Six are supposed to be making some comeback soon.
Yes, they said that Eric Rowan was at the PC recently. So yeah, as I believe Bo Dallas has been medically cleared. So Y6 should be back up and running in no time.
Brilliant stuff. Sure, SmackDown will be starting anytime now in the next 30 minutes.
Yes, and of course, we're gonna have to wrap this up because I have to check on my food.
There you go.
And make sure that my food is not burning.
Well, it's been great. It's been great coming back for our first return episode.
Yes.
Lots and lots of fun, and thanks for everyone for joining us. It's been great. We've had a lot of comments and so on. It's been brilliant.
Yes. Well, this is the first time we have had over 200 viewers in a long time. So thank you to all 250.
One last piece of news. Myla Grace, she's an Irish wrestler. She's signed with TNA there. Came out this evening. It's fantastic news.
Yes. Well, we will definitely be following up more on her journey in TNA because they've been signing a lot of people.
Hardy Hudson.
2 other women. Yeah. So we will definitely speak more on that next week.
Yeah. So make sure everyone to like, follow, subscribe. We really appreciate it all. And we will be back with lots more.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy your Friday.
Enjoy SmackDown. Take care.